Good morning and welcome to another Werb's Kids Sunday service. Woo! It is so good to have you with us because this is a service just for us. And I'm so glad that you chose to join in this morning. Now, most of you do know me, but just in case you don't, I'm Amy. I'm the children's pastor here at St. Werb Church. And as I've said, I'm so glad that you have joined us this morning. But I've got a big question. How was your half term? Hopefully you enjoyed taking your rest from homeschooling. But what did you get up to? Let us know in the comments. Did you do anything fun? Did you go on a really nice walk? Obviously we can't go on holiday like some of us would normally do for half term, but maybe you did something else that was super fun that you'd like to tell some of us about. Now, did you go on a little expedition and maybe you went on like a treasure hunt and looked for different things that you could find in your neighbourhood on one of your weekday walks? Or maybe you just had a lot of fun baking or doing fun stuff at home that you wouldn't normally get a chance to do. Well, whatever it is, please do let us know, because we would love to know how you spent your week. Because for me, I was just working. But I had a lot of fun on Tuesday because it was Pancake Day! I love Pancake Day, mainly because I get to eat a lot of pancakes just smothered in chocolate, which is amazing. And we had some fun, didn't we? We had a live stream on Tuesday, which was so much fun to be able to hang out, to chat about pancakes, eat them together. And I loved finding out what toppings you liked to have on your pancakes. I'll definitely have to try some of them out. And then we talked a little bit, didn't we? We talked about Lent, because we're now in this season of Lent, which is the run-up to Easter. And hopefully you have had delivered to your house these amazing Lent packs. Now there's a devotional which will only take you 8 to 10 minutes each day, which you can do together as a family, which is amazing. If you don't have one and you would like one, please do email me. It's amy.farah@stwderby.org. But what's so cool about these is that there is something for you to do every day. There's also, if you can see, some little QR codes, and these are links to videos that you can also watch that day. And then you've also got this big book, which is an activity book. Not only does it have stickers and some other activities, it's got super fun things to help you think more about the story for that day. They're definitely worth doing together because they also help you go deeper with God as a whole family, to read the Bible together and to talk about faith. So it's definitely worth checking out and doing during this season. But this week, we are in Daniel chapter 4. Hopefully you've had a lot of fun learning about Daniel and his friends this far. They're quite cool, aren't they? And they've done quite a lot of exciting things. Some things that are a little bit scary. But it's amazing how Daniel and his friends, they always follow God first throughout everything. And this week is another week where the king has a dream. It's another dream week. But before we even get into any of that, we're going to play a game. And I've got some friends who are going to help me. So check this out.
That's yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Wigfields. That was so good. Musical statues is so much fun. I hope you were up and dancing and you were able to freeze when the music stopped. Why not try playing it again later on this week? But I wonder, are you good listeners? Did you find it easy or hard to listen out for when the stops in the music were? And in general, are you good at listening to those around you? In our story today, you will find out that the king was not a good listener. Once again, he had this weird dream and Daniel told him what it meant, but he didn't listen, and it meant it got him into some trouble. But why don't we use our listening and our dancing skills once again, and let's worship together God now.
Water you turned into wine. Open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you. There's none like you. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. None like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. No, there's no one. There's none like you. 'Cause our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, sing out. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? Then what can stand against? Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what can stand against? And if
Waking up knowing there's a reason. All my dreams come alive. Life is for living. With you, I've made my decision. You lift me up, fill my eyes with wonder. Forever young in your love, the freedom's untainted. With you, no moment is wasted. See the sun now bursting through the clouds. Black and white turn to color, roll around. All is new in the Savior I am found. This is living now. This is living now. You lead the way, God, you're right beside me. In your love, I'm complete. There's nothing like living with you. This life you created, I choose. See the sun now bursting through the clouds. Black and white turn the color all around. All is new in the Savior I am found. This is living now. This is living now. You take me higher than I've been before. It's your perfect love that sees me soar. God, your freedom is an open door. You are everything I want and more. See the sun now bursting through the clouds. Black and white turn to color all around. All is new in the Savior I am found. See the sun now bursting through the clouds. Black and white turn to color all around. All is new in the Savior I am found. This is living now. This is living now. You take me higher than I've been before. It's your perfect love that sees me soar. God, your freedom is an open door. You are everything I want and more.
Hello there. Hi, kids. My name is Caleb, and I'm going to tell you a quick story of when Puppet Joe sang last week. Now, we all know who Puppet Joe is because, you know, he does so many things for you guys. But actually, he's also a singer and he leads worship. So last Sunday, Puppet Joe was singing, ooh, right there. Puppet Joe was singing there. And I was doing all these funny things with these lights and buttons here and trying to listen to him and make him sound pretty and make him sound nice. And at one point, I could see Puppet Joe from stage, and he was trying to tell me something, and he was moving his lips, but I could not hear him. And I was like, I can't hear you, Puppet Joe. What are you trying to tell me? I really don't know. Like, try again and try again. And I was trying to listen in. And then, after a while, I realized that this little wire had fallen out. And that's why I couldn't hear Puppet Joe. And as soon as I connected this wire in and it clicked in, I could hear exactly what he was saying. And then I realized he wanted to do another song, but it was too late to do another song because I'd missed the time. So it's very important to stay connected with God. And if you are connected with God, you can always listen in on what God is trying to tell you. Bye!
Thank you so much for that. Now, listening is important, isn't it? And as we heard, listening can be funny, or it can get us into trouble. It can be dangerous as well. And I think what I want to tell you about listening as well, just before we hear the story, is that listening isn't just using our ears. It's hearing or seeing what someone is saying and then acting on it. It's using your brain too. Because we know that listening is really important and it can keep us safe. When your mums and daddies or your carers tell you something important, often it's to keep you safe, to keep you out of harm's way. Listening is a really, really good thing because it also means you care, doesn't it? It means you care about the person who is talking to you if you are really trying to listen and respond and think about what they are saying. And in our story today, we see what happens when someone doesn't listen. So, are you ready to hear the story about King Nebuchadnezzar and his wacky dream again? This time it was a slightly different dream, but Daniel was still needed to help him out. So, listen to this and hear how listening is super important.
Good morning, Werb's kids! Oh, it's so good to be with you again. Well, today we're looking at chapter 4 of Daniel, and I need your help. We're going to tell the story, and I need you to act it out, okay? Do you think you can do that? So stand up and get ready to pull some faces. Right, first face to pull is amazed. Babylon was an amazing city. The king's wise men were all well educated and intelligent and good looking, and they were fed the best foods there were. Can you pretend to eat and stuff your face with the best food you've ever seen? The city of Babylon grew and grew, and King Nebuchadnezzar felt that he was the strongest king there had ever been. He loved to look at his city that he had built and planned to build bigger and better buildings. He did not care that he was hurting poor people who went without because the king demanded so much food from them. Can you pull a sad face because the poor people were so hungry? One night, King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream about a massive tree that had birds and animals living in it and around it. Then it got cut down. It was another strange dream that made him very worried. Can you stretch as tall as you can like a huge tree? The king asked for his wise men to come and explain the dream, but they did not understand the dream, and they couldn't tell the king what it meant. Can you pull a confused face? So the king sent for Daniel, who had explained his first dream. He was a Jew who feared God, and he was able to tell him what it meant. Daniel warned the king that the dream meant that the king would go mad for a period of time because of his pride. Daniel suggested that if the king changed his ways, then was kinder to the poor, then God might change his mind. But King Nebuchadnezzar took no real notice and continued his plan to make more changes to his great and wonderful city. He stood proudly on the balcony and looked at the city before him. I am the greatest king there has ever been. Can you act like King Nebuchadnezzar? Put your hands on your hips and look really proud. Then shout out, I am the greatest! I am the greatest! Nebuchadnezzar, you will be driven out of your palace for 7 years until you can learn that the Most High God rules over the kingdoms of the earth. At that moment, King Nebuchadnezzar went mad. Can you pull the craziest face? From that moment, the king lived like an animal out in the fields, walking on all fours and eating grass. He was like a cow. No one saw him, and his advisors instead ruled the kingdom. Can you act like a cow and walk on all fours? Don't forget to moo. Moo. At last, after 7 years, the king came to his senses and prayed to God. He said sorry for being so proud and ignoring God. He was sorry that he thought that he was the best when God was the ruler of everything. He recognised that God was in charge of the world. Can you look up and cheer? Woohoo! King Nebuchadnezzar's officers looked at him, and he became the ruler of the kingdom once again. Now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise and glorify the King of heaven, the Lord God who rules above everything. All his acts are just and true, and he can humble the proud. Can you dance around? It was such great news that King Nebuchadnezzar realised that God was in charge. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Puppet Joe. What an odd story, right? Another really weird dream. But it goes to show that God can talk to anyone, because the king still wasn't following God, was he? But God still wanted to talk to the king. And once again, the king asked the wrong people to explain his dream, doesn't he? When Daniel's the one who can help, because Daniel trusts God. But do you remember what happens when Daniel explains the dream? Does the king listen? No! He doesn't listen at all. He decides that he's going to just do his own thing. Even though Daniel has explained that bad things will happen if the king doesn't listen, the king still decides to do his own thing. He's too proud to listen. Do you know what proud means? When someone's proud, they think of themselves in a really good way. They can think of themselves as just a really good person, or maybe they've made something that they're really proud of, so they love the thing that they've made and they want to show it off to other people. And sometimes being proud of something isn't a bad thing. Like if you made something that you'd like to show everyone, you are proud of that thing, and that's okay. It's really good sometimes to show off the cool things that we've made. And God's really proud of us and the things that we do. That's okay too. But the king, he wasn't just proud of Babylon and what he had made. He let it get to his head. He thought, I'm amazing. I'm the greatest king ever. I'm better than anyone. I'm better than God. King Nebuchadnezzar thought he was amazing above everything else. And that was being too proud. And that was not good. He was obsessed with everything that he made. He was so full of himself that he had no space for God. He had no time for God. And that was the big problem. His priorities, so the number one thing in his life was himself and the things that he had done. He had put God too far down the list. And so we need to be careful too, don't we? We need to think about where God is in our lives. Is God number one? Is he at the top? Or are we like Nebuchadnezzar? Are we ignoring God and what he's trying to say to us? Because that's what Nebuchadnezzar did. He completely ignored. Nope. He didn't want to know. And that meant that he went mad. God let him go mad. And that meant that he spent 7 years outside eating like a cow. That's a bit weird, isn't it? But it was to teach him a lesson. Because we know what it feels like when we get ignored, don't we? When someone doesn't pay attention to us, it can make us sad, can't it? It can make us frustrated that we're not being listened to. It can be really painful, can't it, if you feel like somebody isn't listening to what you have to say. And that's how God felt with Nebuchadnezzar. He had told him something and he just hadn't listened. So we had to teach him a lesson. And it took him 7 years for him to figure out the answer. And finally, King Nebuchadnezzar realizes that God is the king above everything, that he's the one that's actually in control. And what's amazing is that when the king realizes this, when King Nebuchadnezzar finally says, God, I'm sorry, you are the one that's in control, what happens? The king gets reinstated. He gets to be the king of Babylon once again. So this week, think about whether God is your number one, whether you're listening to him or whether you're ignoring him. And think about how God is in control. Because that's amazing, isn't it? When God is in control, we actually don't need to worry as much either. Let's spend some time in prayer now.
Dear God, please help the coronavirus go away forever and no more people get sick or be poorly. Please protect our family and friends. Thank you for all the things we have to eat and to play with. And thank you for our warm houses. Help us look after the world that you made. Amen. Dear God, thank you for the animals and the flowers and the things that make us smile. Thank you, God, that COVID cases are going down and we hope to go back to school and church really soon. I hope to play with my friends really soon. Please help us grow healthy and strong. Amen. Amen.
Thanks again for coming to another Werb's Kids Sunday service. I hope you've had a lot of fun this morning with us, but the fun can continue for you at home. All you need to do is head to the website stwderby.org/kids, and the session for today will be up there. And it has fun stuff for you to do. It's got activities and crafts, but it's also got something for each individual age group. So if you're in preschool, that's a Sparks age group, then there's something for you. If you're in Key Stage 1, Flames, there's something for you. And if you're in Key Stage 2, Blaze, there's something for you too. So do check it out and go deeper into the story. And if you do go deeper into the story and you do some of those crafts and activities, I would love to see. Send in your photos and your videos so we can see them, and we'll include them in next week's service. Why not show off and be proud of the things that you have made, but in a really good way, because we would love to see all the things that you are creating this week. So just email amy.farah@stwderby.org with your photos and videos, and we will include them in next week's service. Well, it's been great seeing you, and I hope you have a really good week. Hope to see you soon. Bye!